Well, Luke, a good chance to catch and reflect on what's been a tremendous start to the season for your boys. How have you seen it through your eyes?
I mean, I think it's been brilliant. I mean, obviously the league position, speaks for itself. I think we're top of the league right now. But I think, the lads, it's just an unbelievable feeling. We go into each game confident, thinking that we're going to win, which I think that's the correct mindset to have for any sort of, footballer, any sort of team. But I think this season especially, like obviously last year we sort of finished really well, came fourth, and this year we just kicked on. We had a really good pre-season, and I think it's something to hopefully continue going into the late stages of the season as well.
I was going to say, with the way you finished last season, did you have a sense coming in that you would be competing toward the top?
Yeah, I mean, we know the quality within our team. Our teammates. I believe that we're very good players, best in the country. That's why we're a scholar at Derby. But we sort of set the standard for ourselves that we wanted to push on from next season, go higher, aim even higher. Which we've started really well. So we sort of knew that was going to be the case, and I think that's why we're top of the league.
As captain then, tell us about this group, tell us about your teammates, who are the characters and who are the players that have really stood out, you think, in your eyes?
I think the one that comes to mind is Charles Abuka. I think obviously he came in last season from West Ham as a first year scholar, and starting a scholar as I did last year, it's quite a difficult experience, it's quite hard to get used to, but the way he started the season so far, I don't know how many goals he's got, but it seems like he's scoring every game. And he's definitely a very confident guy, which is, like I just said, it's very good to have. And I mean, the credit to the rest of the first years joining. It's quite hard to come into a team that did so well last year. They've all come in and done really well. And then I think some of the second years, obviously they've pushed on to the 21s, which is really good for them. And in our age, whoever plays, whether it's a first year or second year, we're just doing really well. The confidence within the team is excellent, and the character I think is really good. There's no one getting onto each other. Everyone's encouraging each other, even when it is difficult. There are moments in the games that we're not gonna be unbelievable every single moment, but I think everyone has that belief with each other to overcome those difficult periods, which is very good.
I think it's 25 goals in 5-6 games maybe in the league, which is some going. What does that do for the team's confidence, sort of, when you have a front line that is in that sort of form? I
mean, like I said, we go into each game thinking that we're going to win, and that's because of the amount of goals we scored. And I think obviously as a defender, it's also important to concede as few goals as possible. That's something we sort of worked on last year. I think last year we scored the same amount as we conceded, which obviously is something we wanted to work on. But having this front line, you can go through games where you can defend the difficult periods, knowing that you're going to score three or four more than the other team. So having that sort of belief in the strikers and the wingers, you're just confident that you're going to win every game.
You've been on the score sheet yourself as the team's designated penalty taker. Tell me how that came about, because you don't find many central defenders that take the responsibility.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to throw anyone under the bus, but I mean, in training we weren't necessarily the best at taking penalties, the ones that you'd expect to score. And I've notoriously been quite good at taking them in training. So then Barnsley, our set piece coach, he came up to me one day and was like, "What would you do if you were put on pens?" And I embraced it. I was like, "Yeah, I'll do it." And then Danny came up to me on a match day -1 before training and just told me I'm on pens. And then I think it was quite good because the day after that happened, we had Newcastle away and we got a penalty in the last minute and I scored it. So that was a good thing to sort of get it done nice and early. And now I just have confidence with going into every penalty that I have. I feel like I'm going to score every single one.
Captain as well, are you the sort of character that just embraces responsibility?
Yeah, I think that is something that I like to do as a captain, as a leader of the team, sort of take responsibility for myself, but also as the team. So if we're struggling at half time, I'll come in and rattle the boys up and make sure we're ready for the second half. But even after the game, I'll make sure that everyone's grounded, nice and humble. There's no point thinking you're on cloud nine, because there's still a long way of the season to go. So that is something that I like to do as a leader, to try and make sure everyone's sort of on the same page, ready to go for the next game.
And on that, there is a long way to go. How do you make sure that standards stay high for the rest of the season?
I mean, I think standards, it all comes down to consistency, really. I mean, even when you're doing well, this we've spoken about as a team, when you're doing well, make sure you keep doing the same things, because obviously it is easy to slip back into a losing habit. We want to make sure that we're staying at the top, consistent with our standards, both on and off the pitch as well, because I think off the pitch is where you sort of grow as a human and as a scholar. I think it's definitely important to embrace this 2-year period, getting to know new people, treating each other with respect, whether they're a footballer or someone else, like a background member of the club. So yeah, we just want to be consistent with each other, making sure we treat people with respect and just being good people, and that hopefully translates onto the pitch, which I think it is.